Did it work?
Look away too
You good?
quickly.
That's I was like trying not to, like uncomfortable staring. Hello, Jeremy. Welcome, and thank you for joining me here today. I'd love to learn a little bit more about what you do at Nucleus Network, what your role is, and also if you could share with our audience what Nucleus Network does and how important it is to this industry.
Yeah, of course. So at Nucleus Network, our mission is to advance medicine and improve lives, and we do that through engaging with global biotech and pharmaceutical companies as they seek to bring new medications and treatments to market. We engage with them to operate within our clinical environments and to engage with participants who volunteer to participate in clinical trials. So it's a really privileged environment to work in terms of the impact that we can have at a global scale. Within my role as the Chief Digital Officer, I'm responsible for really driving our digital transformation journey for the organisation, and to looking at how we can leverage AI to really improve the way that we engage both within the clinical research but also in innovation more broadly.
And your role is quite significant. You're the Chief Digital Officer for a clinical research firm. And that's quite a unique role, especially when you think about actually the global nature of your role. As you mentioned, all the different sites that you have to manage and bring the best technology to be able to enroll and manage your participants effectively. As you think about your work, what does digital transformation look like for you, especially in this very unique industry?
Yeah, I think in my role, I see a large part of what we do. We're a data-driven business, and that's really core to our business model. We operate our clinical environments globally to collect data for our sponsors and for our biotech partners that we work with, and to provide that data to them in a way that can help them to advance medicine. And for us, investing in digital platforms and advancing our own approach as we digitalize our organization is key. The way that we can leverage data and then use that data and innovate off that data is absolutely key. It's key to my role. It does add different layers of complexity, being a global organisation and dealing with what is quite rightly a highly regulated industry, and particularly with the nature and the sensitivity of the information that we do work with globally, that adds layers of complexity to the role. But it's incredibly meaningful work, and it's been a great journey in my time with Nucleus to be helping to drive that digital platform and our innovation platform forward.
Amazing. And of course, we rely so heavily on engaging with these participants, on acquiring this data and being able to effectively use that data to screen those participants, and also then of course to provide that data for the clinical trials. And so when we think about engaging with those clinical trial participants, those volunteers, and actually the contribution that they're making, how are you engaging with them in dealing with some of the challenges around very long pre-screening calls, or sometimes the risk of retention and the drop-offs that you might see with the participants that you're engaging with? Can you walk us through what that engagement looks like, and how do we essentially deal with some of those interactions and ensure that we're getting those patients in and being able to retain them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very can be a complex process, but it's really important that we work at it in the detail. From our customer or participant journey, as they register interest to participate in a clinical trial, and that might be through our social channels or web channels. They may then engage with our recruitment team in a call centre to further screen for eligibility. They may then continue that journey into our screening clinics for a medical or physician screening, and then they may then go on to actually participate in a clinical trial within one of our clinical environments. But for us, at each step in that journey, there's natural high attrition because of the complexity of the screening and eligibility criteria that we are working in within the clinical trials environment. So for us, as we look to innovate, we look really at the detail to identify any incremental percentage improvements in retention that we get through that journey really has a material impact to us. So we certainly seek to use the technology and our investment in technology to make those improvements. But also that's kind of for us laid with other complexities as we as an organisation are scaling globally and seeking to work with more biotech and pharma partners to bring more drugs to market. but also naturally within the industry, as those trials become more complex, it has additional layers where scale and complexity need to sort of fit into the mix of the way we apply technology in those use cases. And that's something we're doing strongly with our investments in Salesforce and recent investments that we've made within our data platform, within our data cloud environment, Einstein personalization for our web environment, and Agentforce. So we're very dedicated and committed to the role that technology can play, both as we incrementally improve the participant engagement and our retention through that journey, but also as an organization as we look to scale as the industry itself scales and becomes more complex.
Absolutely. No, I think it's really quite astute to reflect on how clinical trials are becoming much more complex, and the need to be able to very efficiently screen candidates and bring them in and to retain them in the clinical trial. But what are some of the sort of consequences or effects beyond just being inefficient if you can't, adequately recruit and retain those patients?
Yeah.
What are you seeing as some of those effects?
Yeah, it can be a great challenge to get the level of participation and then screen that through to the volumes we need to help us scale as an organization and to help ensure that clinical trials are a success and that participant recruitment doesn't become a barrier to that. But I think that's where, again, technology has a key role to play, particularly with digital engagement and really as we seek to look at applying different technologies in ways that improves the experience, improves the journey, improves the way we're able to connect and engage with participants, to really help them to understand the critical role they're playing within clinical research and to be a partner on that journey with us as well.
Amazing. I love that you said, to be a partner, and they're actually personally contributing, and so they become, as important as everybody else that you're interacting with in this journey. So you mentioned, your use of the Salesforce platform and the use of, modern technology to help you in some of these endeavors in the various clinical sites that you have. I'd love to reflect a little bit on kind of your journey as a Salesforce customer, given that you have some of your sites on the core platform in the past, but actually you've also embarked on a new industry cloud with Life Sciences Cloud. What was that aha moment for you in sort of discovering Salesforce Industries, and the decision to actually move to more of an out-of-the-box industry capability?
Yeah, of course. I mean, our journey with Salesforce has been, around a decade, and through that journey and our adoption of the core platform, which we've implemented here in Australia and also for our US operations, it's really been us on a journey to take that core platform and through customization and development, go through programs of improvement to add features and add capability to help us ensure that we can, effectively manage participant recruitment within a clinical trial setting and also manage our clinical operations for the work we do. And that's been really a journey for us over the decade of heavy customization and development focus to really customize and tailor those capabilities for our requirements. The real aha moment came for us last year through the acquisition of HMR in London, Hammersmith Medicine's Research, our new London site, where we saw the opportunity to invest in that site, bring them along on our journey for digital transformation, and include Salesforce as a key component of that. And our initial thinking was to continue on core and to deploy the solutions that we'd worked hard to develop on within our Australian organisation and our US organisation. But through further engagement, we just saw a great opportunity and capability within Life Sciences Cloud to get us more aligned with something that is industry focused and that is out of the box. I think through that journey, we very quickly got a really strong conviction and comfort that that's what we could achieve through the implementation of the industry cloud. We're into that journey now, and I think we're in a really strong position to really change our approach to how we adopt Salesforce and use Salesforce at a global level. But our position at the moment is to really focus on using that out-of-the-box capability and the strengths that it brings to us to get a great implementation of Salesforce into London.
So when we think about the Salesforce platform, obviously, and you've been such a long-time customer and user of the Salesforce platform, the extent of the Salesforce platform is amazing, and it at the same time it lends itself well to being able to create some of these industry-specific capabilities. Now that you've started to begin your implementation and rolling out this new industry cloud, Life Sciences Cloud, for your HMR site in London, what would you say are some of the advantages of using an out-of-the-box system that a traditional CRM wasn't able to give you initially?
I think the last 12 months offers us a great case study for that, where to make really critical improvements in the way that we collect and manage the structures behind the important clinical trial participant data that we manage in Salesforce for our Australian organisation, we went through quite a lengthy development process to enhance that through the introduction of essentially custom objects, custom interfaces and custom code to get to the outcomes that we as an organisation were wanting to see through the improvement and the improved quality of the data we were collecting at that key early stage in our participant recruitment journey. And that was a long project. We had an internal development team working really hard to deliver on that outcome for the organisation. And as we roll forward and now look at what we're doing within our implementation of Life Sciences Cloud, we've been able to identify and find that those changes are really quite much more straightforward for us to implement. The speed to deliver those, the effectiveness of those objects that come natively out of the box, their alignment with what we're trying to seek, I see as a really strong benefit as we move forward. Also the richness and depth of what are the standard models, as opposed to sort of the journey we've been on to incrementally improve over time. I think even in these early stages of implementation, we're seeing some really key benefits of how we'll be able to move in a more aligned, more effective, and a quicker way to improving that journey and the solution moving forward.
Amazing. And now that you've started your implementation, what sort of effects do you anticipate this will provide, or benefits this might provide to your engagement with participants?
Yeah, I think particularly in the situation we have within our London site, where we are replacing a legacy system and introducing Life Sciences Cloud, it just gives us the opportunity from end to end to engage with that participant in a much more rich and much more meaningful way, and in a much more integrated way through their journey, but through their journey in a way that's also integrated with the way that we're delivering that trial from an operational perspective as well. And I think that's really exciting, right from the very first touch point where a participant may register their interest to participate through our website, to take that directly into Salesforce and then to nurture it through all of the screening steps that we have. And engage the participant throughout that journey, I think is a really, really key opportunity for us. And I think it'll really help us to transform that side. And then looking forward, how do we take those learnings and apply them across our other sites globally? Yeah,
definitely. And I love what you said about sort of integrating that entire experience in a single platform, sort of end to end, and how just that will enable a more positive experience for your participants. Amazing. So now as you think about moving forward into the world of AI and now agentic AI, how are you exploring today how the use of AI and agentic AI can improve or modify or uplift your pre-screening and your patient engagement processes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think part of it is really around enhancing that participant engagement piece, particularly 24/7, where we can sort of leverage the capabilities of agents to really engage on the participant's term, but also to help us within, again, we work in a highly regulated industry. It's really critical that we have those key hold points and those key human-in-the-loop interventions throughout our clinical trials process, and particularly around the participant recruitment process, and we never want to lose or step away from that. There's enormous opportunity within those guardrails to leverage AI to improve the journey and improve the efficiency and the quality of the data that we're capturing through that journey. And that again talks to addressing some of the challenges I spoke to earlier about how do we scale, particularly in an environment that's becoming more complex. And AI is not there to be the silver bullet for us on those things, but it can play a really key role within the safeguard rails that we can set to help us scale, to help us be more efficient, and to help us provide a richer engagement experience for participants.
And certainly you talked a little bit about guardrails. How are you thinking about guardrails, especially in the context of the use of AI in a highly regulated industry being healthcare and clinical trials? What are some of the considerations that you are thinking about internally and advice you would give to others on this?
Of course. I think our approach is to be really practical and pragmatic around the role of AI and lead it into what it does best. I think some of our key successes within the production solutions focused on AI that we have really are targeted on how can we use AI at scale to help us generate content in more creative and more efficient ways, or to summarize in the same way, but do so within the strong guardrails and protections that we have. So some of the examples that include where we're leveraging AI to really richly engage with participants through informed consent education, knowing that we've already got existing really strong governance guardrails around how that material needs to go through relevant approval processes, both within our internal investigators and also with external ethics boards, before we could actually then have it approved and share with external participants. So I think that's just an example of where we've tried to focus on using AI for its best use case in a process, ensuring that we don't dilute the existing human-in-the-loop controls and in fact strengthen them where we can. But overall, what we're providing is a better engagement experience, and really helping in that case study or that use case is to help our participants engage in their participation in a trial in a more informed way.
Wow, really great advice to share, especially in the use of AI. And now, more broadly speaking, for other customers, other organizations in healthcare, in life sciences, in clinical research, what would your advice be for them as they begin to embark on their journey, both with AI and/or with, looking at some of the industry capabilities and industry out-of-the-box capabilities that we have?
Again, I think it comes from my perspective and our perspective on our journey in recent years at Nucleus. It really starts with data. I mean, data is the fuel for AI. Data is for us is the fuel for automation, data is the fuel for integration. And those things that help us operate in an environment of increasing scale and complexity, it all starts with data, it starts with the quality around that data. From there, I think you then become spoilt for choice around how you leverage that, and becomes more of a challenge around ensuring you focus on the right opportunities with the right value at the right time. But it always starts with a program of data enablement and taking it from there.
Amazing. So data, AI, engagement, all of the above, and taking through that stepwise process, understanding the challenges in a regulated industry. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for all of your wonderful insights today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today, and thank you as always for your long-time partnership with us in life sciences and at Salesforce.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.